jokes aside, so this injury's popped up. You mentioned that you can get hurt riding your trail bike, right? I mean, you 100% can. So I'm all for that attitude. And like Hardline seems to be designed for you with the jumps. It's just a cool event for you. And you've obviously won one before. So it makes sense going to it. Do you think now, not because of Hardline, like in general, is this going to change maybe your strategy towards riding, practicing, racing, like when to push, when not to push?
I mean, it'll definitely, I pushed the limit too far at Hardline. I can realize that. I felt that in my riding, is that I was taking risks that were maybe a bit too much. And so, I've learned from that. And, now I know, if I feel this section, I'm coming in too hot, that's my limit. So hopefully, I'm always trying to push the limit, and it's like, that's normal, but, you want to do that in training and not, in your race run. So, I guess you want to do it in your race run too, but to prepare for your race run, you want to push yourself in training. But yeah, I mean, it's funny because everyone says Hardline, so dangerous, it's you don't want to get injured before the season, all this stuff. But, the section I crashed in was a technical section. Like it wasn't like a crazy hard section, but, I just got offline ever so slightly, and, that was that. But, I don't think there was maybe one or two like crashes on the big jumps, but everyone was, crashing on the technical stuff. So everyone's saying on Hardline, it's super dangerous. It's really not. It's the technical stuff that's sometimes more dangerous, and that's what we ride and train to do. So, I wouldn't have changed a thing by not going there. I don't think. I think it was still such a fun week, and if the outcome was different, I would have been still super stoked. So,
well, I've said
it's not going to stop me from going to the other ones.
No, exactly. And it's hindsight's a perfect science. Like, you see, we told you it's dangerous. Jackson got hurt. It's like, hang on, he would have done a preseason race. It might have been just as technical worse. He's going to push himself. But it's interesting that you have reflected. So what do you mean? Like, did you not get enough practice on that section at that speed? Was the conditions a little bit different? And then your race run was just faster than you'd ridden in practice? And that was maybe in hindsight something you should have been smarter about.
We did have rain that, I think it was the day before, I think it was that night, actually. The night before, we had a whole bunch of rain. And the way the lifts were set up, it was quite hard to do like a full like, and just like lap it. It took a while to get to the top, and then you had to ride down, 5 minutes, and then you drop into the track. So it was pretty, it was hard to get a lot of practice in. So, we did our quali the day before, and that was before the rain. Or no, it was in the rain was our quali. So we were, sliding around all like crazy, and then it got really hot and started drying up super quick for our race day. And so we had one practice run in the morning, I think, or maybe two before the race. And trying to judge the conditions was really hard because some sections dried out completely and were dust, and then the other ones were like still super muddy. So it was hard to really gauge that. And then obviously, by the time race run came around, it was like 3-4 hours later, things dried out like a lot more, and so it was hard to gauge where the kind of track was at, conditions wise. So I think that was a bit tough for me to go into basically a blind track. You don't know how it's gonna react. So that was a learning experience for sure.
Certainly a learning experience, but now listening to it, it's a pretty big racing incident in my mind now, because World Cup, local race, if the conditions are changing, it's always a gamble. Even if you pick a speed that you think's pretty consistent, or you're chilling, like you can easily slip because, you haven't seen the track in those conditions. You can easily make a mistake. You were hurdling, as you've mentioned. Like you were certainly giving it a go.
Yeah,
you were on a good run, and you were you were going
Ronan
to
fired me up. Yeah.
yeah, you were going to light up the timing board. That I'll give it. I'll big you up. You were going to smash the timing board. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, you were giving it the beats for sure. But it still is a racing incident. You know, you could have been going half the pace and slipped and gone off track.
Exactly.
I guess, you know.
Yeah, I was looking at the video and I was maybe 2-3 inches offline, and it basically I hit the rock at the angle, like a rock about this big at an angle, instead of going over it, and it kicked my rear out into a hole and then just bucked me forward. So, you know, if I was that far to the left, rider's left, I would have made it through that section fine. But I came in pretty much no brakes to that section, and I should have maybe had a little brake tap.
And then practice in the dry. You'd done that speed before, like the earlier times?
Nah, not that speed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was hard to practice. It was hard to practice and like do race run stuff at Hardline, because you know you're working your way down the jumps, and there's a lot of you kind of take it step by step through the practice. And I don't think we were allowed to do a full run until I think day 2 or maybe day 3 even of practice. So we didn't get that much practice doing top to bottom full race runs. So maybe that's something that we ask for in the future to limit injury. But I mean, I think maybe I'm the only guy that's gonna I'm one of the only guys that crashed. So maybe that's just me talking.
No, when I was listening, I thought maybe that's something that can be suggested, that they need to carve out some time if you want to do full runs and start linking sections, because that's when you link a section, you maybe go into another section faster than you were expecting.
Yeah.
As you know, I mean, I don't have to explain it to you. I guess for the listeners, that's when things get a little hairy. When you're linking sections, you're like, man, I'm coming into this way faster in a race run than when I'm doing sections, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And for what most of us do, we're World Cup racers, and at the World Cups, it's quick lift up, quick lift down. Like you can pump out a whole bunch of laps, and that's how we train. So, to go into kind of, it is a different week. So I'm not going to, I don't want to make it like a World Cup, and it's a complete different vibe. But, just, from a race perspective, if we had that kind of training, maybe, and practice, where we could just, bang out laps and really get used to the track at high speed, it would have been a different story.